Hi everyone, I'm Senpai, and today we're going to go into the lore of Uldaman. To do this, we need to go back in time. Thousands and thousands of years ago, the Titans found Azeroth and began ordering the planet. Much of this included planting their own Watchers and Keepers around the planet, who in turn also built Titan facilities around the planet. Every Titan facility has had a few different purposes throughout time, and Uldaman is no different. It was originally created by the Titan Watcher Ironaya, as a vault to contain the Trogs that had been created through a failed experiment. The intention was to use Uldaman as a stasis unit for the stone creatures, but some of them managed to escape their would-be imprisonment in stasis. It should also be noted that some of these original Trogs also made their way into Deepholm and evaded the Curse of Flesh, while the rest of their cousins did not. After the death of the Titan Keeper Tyr, Ironaya, along with Arcadis the Titan Keeper, fled to Uldaman and began to expand it, carving new chambers to hold and protect the Discs of Norgannon. These discs, crafted by another set of Titan Keepers, hold the record of all that has happened on Azeroth, though not all of it has been uncovered. The discs themselves cannot be moved, but information can be copied from them. Years later, as the Curse of Flesh started to spread throughout Azeroth, some of the Earthen approached Arcadis and expressed their fear. He agreed to put some of them to sleep until a cure could be found. The original Mechanomes would also stay to watch over the facility and its occupants. Ironaya and Arcadis eventually went into hibernation as well. Eventually, the Great Sundering led to the active Earthen to tunnel into Uldaman on their own to lock themselves away, leaving only the Mechanomes to watch over the facility. But many of them began transforming into fleshy gnomes, and many of them left to make their new homes in the mountains nearby. Eventually, the last remaining one would attempt to awaken the Earthen. She did so, but the Earthen that emerged from the hibernation chambers were instead dwarves, more fleshy beings. They also left Uldaman, making their homes in nearby mountains. Thousands of years later, some dwarves from Ironforge, forming the Explorers League, began exploring the ruins of Uldaman, gathering artifacts and knowledge. They also woke up the Trogs, who had remained sleeping there for millennia. This led to a lot of death of the Dwarven explorers, and also the Trogs digging through the earth in order to hunt them into Dun Morogh. Later on, the Dark Iron Dwarves of the Shadowforge clan began making their way into Uldaman, seeking the Discs of Norgannon for their own needs. Now, with all that history in mind, let's take a look at the bosses specifically, as well as the quests we complete as adventurers. These quests are the same regardless of faction, maybe a name swap here and there. Horde players report to the Reliquary, while Alliance players report to the Explorers League. The quests themselves work off some assumptions, such as in, it's what's inside that counts and we require more minerals. The assumption is that Ironaya and Arcadis were made with the sole purpose of protecting the facility, with one of them being corrupted, possibly by the old gods. We are tasked with grabbing 2 power cores. The other 2 quests we get at the beginning bear the same name for each faction. Behind Closed Doors sets us on killing Galgon Firehammer, the leader of the Dark Irons that are present in the dungeon. The Chamber of Khazmul holds secrets as well that are needed, but they're under the watch of Ironaya. This one leads automatically to Arcadis the Ancient Stonewatcher to be given to you in order to obtain the Discs of Norgannon, and decipher what is on them. And now for the bosses. Revelosh, the first Trog boss we defeat, is seen by some dwarves as the Trog equivalent of our own archaeologists, pointing to the fact that Trogs also hoard Titan artifacts as we do. Some, however, view the Trog as a simple thief. In the map chamber lies a model recreation of what Uldaman must have been when first constructed. This is also where a keystone is used to open the door, in which Ironaya is in a hibernation. I've spoken about Ironaya in the previous section, but suffice to say that the Explorers League and the Reliquary are both wrong in the assumption that she was made only to protect the secrets of Uldaman. Instead, she has spent her time in stasis, reserving power to instead analyze the original master plan set forth by the Titans, in order to discover a cure for the Curse of Flesh. Throughout Uldaman, there remain some Stone Keepers in order to protect the facility, and the Obsidian Sentinel is one of them. Our quest givers believe that this one may have been corrupted by the old gods, however. It is surrounded by Shadowforge clan Dark Iron Dwarves, and much of its body seems to have been replaced with dark glass. Not a typical thing for a Titan construct. We collect this power core for our quest and move on. The Ancient Stone Keeper of the same design does not appear to be corrupted. This one is surrounded instead by Earthen. It is also the last of its kind, so maybe we shouldn't kill it? We need its power core though, so take that and move on again. A little further in, someone we are tasked to kill, Galgon Firehammer. surrounded also by Shadowforged Dark Iron dwarves. Firehammer is a senator from Shadowforge City, sent to oversee excavation of Uldaman, in order to gain the artifacts for the Emperor in the hopes of being used as a weapon against their enemies. The second and final Trogg boss we come across, Grimlock, seems to be the smartest of the Troggs we've met. Usually the strongest Troggs become chief, but Grimlock's training of a basilisk as his pet, as well as maybe some psychological warfare on his fellow Troggs, has kept him in power. Well, not anymore. Finally, we delve into the final few chambers of Uldaman, the Hall of the Crafters and the current abode of Arcadus. Now, we technically don't kill him here. We merely disable him and gain access to the discs of Norgannon. In the final room, we take a look at the discs themselves, huge in size. As we touch them, a stone watcher makes itself known to us, and we speak to the Lore Keeper of Norgannon, who tells us that they give us access and insight when permissible to the information on the discs, in this particular case as it pertains to the creation of the Earthen on Azeroth. The Earthen are a seed race created by the creators, who are presumably the Pantheon. The Earthen were created to shape the deep regions of the world. It is further explained that they are a modification of the standard matrix used on other worlds, and these showed various anomalies after their original synthesis. The design intent, as the Lore Keeper explains, was to improve the survivability paradigm of subterranean beings. It is also explained to us that on other worlds, typically, a biomass construction foundation was used. But on Azeroth, a cross-section of the planet's crust was used as the foundation for creation. The use of the earth for the Earthen not only gave way to their name, but also was done for the purpose of their longevity after the creators had left. As for the anomalies, it was observed that they will occasionally destabilize due to high stress. When asked what high stress could cause this, the Lore Keeper pauses and informs us that the information is not available. When an Earthen destabilizes, however, two things can happen. The first is what we know as Troggs. They keep the strength and stamina of the Earthen, but without the benefit of the cognitive processing, as that has been compromised. It's also stated that part of what makes these variants unacceptable to the creators is cannibalism. The second result of destabilization is the Dwarf. Dwarves retain the strength and stamina of the Earthen as well, but sometimes can even exceed the cognitive processing of the original Matrix. However, dwarves are not made of stone and revert back to a biomass composition. It seems here that the Lore Keeper is speaking of the Curse of Flesh, which is not something we're going to explore today. Suffice to say, it seems to be a product of the Old Gods. Finally, we ask who the creators are, and the Lore Keeper tells us they're the creators. They're the reason life exists on Azeroth and so many other worlds. Now, it's recognized that this is a lot to take in, and so we're invited to take a small portable copy of what we've learned here, and so we do, deposited directly into our bags, and to bring back to some archaeologists. There are a couple other things in Uldaman that are pretty cool. The first is a Horde-only encounter, the Lost Dwarves. Balog, Eric the Swift, and Olaf took a contract from the Explorers League, and ended up getting hopelessly lost, so we take them out. For this particular one, the quests were removed from the game in patch 4.0.3, but the NPC remains. The remains of a paladin, which uses a Forsaken model, was said to have been cursed by a necklace given to him by a jeweler in Ironforge. Since the rumor, Talvash del Kissel has fallen into disrepute, many believing the wares he sells could be cursed themselves. At least that's what we find as Alliance. As Horde, we're simply sent to collect gems, and our later task was discovering what they are used for. One last NPC of import, at least prior to patch 2.3, is Anora. She is an enchanting trainer and was once the only artisan enchanting trainer in Azeroth. Patch 2.3, however, added artisan enchanting trainers to most cities, but she still comes out of the corner if all the scorpions in the room are killed. For information on how Uldaman can be used to make a lot of gold, largely with transmog, check out my friend Persephone's video. Is there something you'd like to see me cover? While I have some plans made, suggestions are always welcome. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm Senpai, and I'll notice you next time.